The poor and middle class don't have the same resources. They sit there and let the government's needles enter their arm and allow the blood donation to begin. Today, I am constantly shocked at the number of people who pay more taxes or take fewer deductions simply because they are afraid of the government. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a great day. I am looking forward to doing some reading with you this morning. This is the book that we are reading, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A really amazing book. We're already up to chapter 4. We are talking about taxes and how the wealthy people manage to find ways around taxes and how poor people don't always know the rules, and so they don't always find their ways around the taxes. It's been very interesting so far. If you've missed any part or if you've just started watching for the first time, I will share at the end how you can watch the other episodes because we have them all uploaded to YouTube. Now, I know that you are all busy and have amazing things to achieve this year. So here we go. Let's get into it. And then I will share at the end, be reading for about 10 minutes, I think, how you can watch the replays and other things. Okay, so the tax code of the United States also allows other ways to reduce taxes. Most of these vehicles are available to anyone, but it is the rich who find them because they are minding their own business. For example, 1031 is jargon for Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code, which allows a seller to delay paying taxes on a piece of real estate that is sold for a capital gain or in exchange for a more expensive piece of real estate. So in America, if you buy a piece of real estate and you sell it, obviously you get taxed on the capital gains. If I sell my property for $100,000 and I bought it for $50,000, I have $50,000 and I need to pay tax over that $50,000. But if I buy a property that was worth $50,000 and then I buy another property, sell that and buy another property which is worth more, then I can put it into a 1031 exchange, and it allows me to not pay the capital gain until I eventually sell it. But I can do that again and again, keep buying bigger and bigger and bigger properties. Now, obviously, if you're watching from Australia, you're not able to do this because it's a different system, but it's important to learn what is possible where you are. So this book is great, but it's very much geared towards America. But there are other things that are possible in Australia or wherever you are from. And it's important to start learning about those things so that you can, use them to your advantage. Real estate is one investment vehicle that has a great tax advantage. As long as you keep trading up in value, you will not be taxed on the gains until you liquidate. As I said, only for America. People who don't take advantage of these legal tax savings are missing a great opportunity to build their asset columns. Because it's very interesting when you have a look at how the world works. If you don't take the time to decide what you want to do during the day, then other people are going to invite you to places, emergencies will come up, this will happen, that will happen. And by the end of the day, you've achieved nothing for yourself. And it's the same with money. If you haven't decided what you're going to do with your money, how you're going to use your money, then what's going to end up happening is that other people will tell you where to put the money, and it will possibly be advantageous to them, not to you. And all of a sudden, most of your money is gone. So you have to be very clear about what you want to do with your time and what you want to do with your money. The poor and middle class don't have the same resources. They sit there and let the government's needles enter their arm and allow the blood donation to begin. Today, I am constantly shocked at the number of people who pay more taxes or take fewer deductions simply because they are afraid of the government. I have friends who have had their businesses shut down and destroyed, only to find it was a mistake on the part of the government. I realize all that. But the price of working from January to May is a high price to pay for that intimidation. My poor dad never fought back. My rich dad didn't either. He just played the game smarter, and he did it through corporations, the biggest secret of the rich that we discussed a chapter earlier. You may remember the first lesson I learned from my rich dad. I was a little boy of 9 who had to sit and wait for him to talk to me. I sat in that office waiting for him to get to me. He was ignoring me on purpose. He wanted me to recognize his power and to desire to have that power for myself one day. During all the years I studied and learned from him, he always reminded me that knowledge is power, and with money comes great power that requires the right knowledge to keep it and make it multiply. Without that knowledge, the world pushes you around. Rich Dad constantly reminded Mike and me that the biggest bully was not the boss or the supervisor, but the tax man. Very often, it does not matter what your excuse or what your reason is. The tax man and other government departments will follow through on charging you and doing things regardless of whether you have a reason or not. I recently had a registration that was overdue, and I did not receive any reminder messages, emails, no letters, no reminder whatsoever. And I think I was 1 or 2 days over, and I was thinking about, it's time for me to renew my registration. Let me look into it. And I got pulled over by the police and fined. And regardless that I did not receive any reminders from the government, they told me that it was my own responsibility and they would fine me. And I had to make the payment regardless of whatever the case was. So just something to keep in mind. And I think the computer is going a little bit lower. So let's quickly plug some electricity into the computer. It is saying, give me some food. So remember that when it comes to the government, you need to be careful, and that they love the power that they have and they will use it. Rich Dad constantly reminded me that it's not the boss or the supervisor, but the taxman who is the biggest bully. The taxman will always take more if you let him. The first lesson of having money work for you, as opposed to you working for money, is all about power. If you work for money, you give the power to your employer. If money works for you, you keep the power and control it. Once we had this knowledge of the power of money working for us, he wanted us to be financially smart and not let anyone or anything push us around. If you're ignorant, it's easy to be bullied. If you know what you're talking about, you have a fighting chance. That is why he paid so much for smart tax accountants and attorneys. Interestingly, my uncle always told me, he had a business and he had a lot of legal troubles. And he always told me he wanted me to be able to study law. He wanted me to be able to be a lawyer so that I would understand and be able to fight back when unfair things happened to me. Because he knew that lawyers were able to understand the law and actually challenge things. Whereas he, as a layman, really struggled with that because he wasn't sure what he wasn't allowed to do. And he had to hire lawyers in order to be able to do that. So he thought that if I was a lawyer and I ran into financial or legal difficulties, that I would then be able to fight back because I already had the knowledge and didn't have to pay for a lawyer and could get that information for free in order to be able to fight back. It was less expensive to pay them than to pay the government. His best lesson to me was, be smart and you won't be pushed around as much. He knew the law because he was a law-abiding citizen, and because it was expensive to not know the law. If you know you're right, you're not afraid of fighting back, even if you're taking on Robin Hood and his band of merry men. My highly educated dad always encouraged me to land a good job with a strong corporation. He spoke of the virtues of working your way up the corporate ladder. He didn't understand that by relying solely on a paycheck from a corporate employer, I would be a docile cow ready for milking. When I told my rich dad my father's advice, he only chuckled. Why not own the ladder? Was all he said. As a young boy, I did not understand what Rich Dad meant by owning my own corporation. It was an idea that seemed impossible and intimidating. Although I was excited by the idea, my inexperience wouldn't let me envisage the possibility that grown-ups would someday work for a company I would own. The point is that if not for my rich dad, I would have probably followed my educated dad's advice. It was merely the occasional reminder of my rich dad that kept the idea of owning my own corporation alive and kept me on a different path. By the time I was 15 or 16, I knew I wasn't going to continue down the path my educated dad recommended. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was determined not to head in the direction most of my classmates were heading. That decision changed my life. It was not until my mid-20s that my rich dad's advice began to make more sense to me. I was just out of the Marine Corps and working for Xerox. I was making a lot of money, but every time I looked at my paycheck, I was disappointed. The deductions were so large, and the more I worked, the greater they become. As I became more successful, my boss talked about promotions and raises. It was flattering, But I could hear my rich dad asking in my ear, who are you working for? Who are you making rich? So we'll leave it right there for now. Hopefully you are enjoying chapter 4 as much as I am. Some very, very important and good lessons. And it is imperative that we understand as much as possible. Now, I think that I have already shared that quite a lot and would love to know your thoughts around that. So if you've missed any of the chapters and you'd like to leave comments, or if you'd like to get in touch, you can do that in a number of ways. One is you can go to YouTube to the Passive Cash Flow Club. Make sure you hit subscribe, because I've also got some videos on other things coming up. One is on how much you should invest. And I've got a couple on how the stock market works. We're going to do some on real estate very soon. So that is very exciting. And I'll make sure that I also do some on business, because I know that everybody has different interests and different skills in different areas. So make sure you subscribe and you'll be able to be notified of when those videos are up as well. So would love to hear your comments there. But if you'd like to get in touch more directly, we also run the Robert Kiyosaki Cash Flow Club here in Sydney. We also have an online version that takes it to a whole new level and takes the basics and actually gives you more realism. It's like a real cash flow simulator. It's like actually playing in real life, so that it makes it easier for you to transition into real life or to improve what you're already doing, so that you are doing even better at achieving your financial goals. So if you'd like to get in touch personally and know more about that, reach out on Instagram. I'm at business_team_6_official. You'll be able to find me there. You can leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts on the reading. If there's anything you'd like me to improve, if there's anything you'd like to change, or if you're extremely happy and love this reading series. And I hope that you do. So leave me a message. And if you would like to also know more about cash flow, just mention that and I'll get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you a message so you know how to join. So thank you so much for joining today. I always appreciate people who join, and I really love having you here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to reach out on YouTube and Instagram, and have an amazing day today. Make sure you get another step closer to your goals. It's not about like achieving these massive things every day. Small little steps every single day will eventually get you to your goals. So have a productive day. I'll see you. No, today's Friday. So I'll see you on Monday at 8 o'clock Sydney time. Thanks again for joining, and have an amazing day.